constraints so far?
Yeah, the constraints are country type constraints. You can still feel some skepticism, just like you asked a few questions in this interview. We've had laws before; they've always had problems. So it's a mindset thing. We have a mindset in Nigeria to say that it's going to be tough to achieve, therefore maybe it will not work. But we have a positive mindset in this team, and we believe that these things can be done. In the 4 years or 5 years we experimented within NNPC, we achieved a lot. And we have the support of government. NNPC as a national oil company will continue to be relevant with Nigerian content implementation. We have their support. Their operators and their joint venture partners are working with us. So the challenges are things that we already have lived with for some time, so we know how to address them. There's always challenges with change, but we are going to use change management principles to overcome these challenges. So we are cautiously optimistic that come our first 100 days, we will address the press and we will show you in more graphic terms some of the issues that we have overcome and some of the areas we will need your support. Because a lot of this whole enterprise is about public enlightenment. Majority of Nigerians still don't understand the core principles of this, from the big players down to the grassroots. So as we speak, we've already invited the state governors in the Niger Delta for phase 1 enlightenment. Phase 1 enlightenment is going to start from the oil producing states, because we want to demonstrate that this law is a law that promotes participation for Nigerians, right from people very close to the oil wells to people everywhere in Nigeria. So we're going to show Nigerians what the opportunities are, what the requirements are. It's not just, I want to participate in the oil and gas industry. You have to do this and that and that. So there's so much. What are the opportunities for employment? What are the opportunities for small scale industries to support even the operations of the oil and gas industry? These are things that we are working with other agencies of government and NGOs to develop. The work is so much that we have to link with NIMASA, which is the regulator for marine safety and administration, PTDF, which is another government agency responsible for capacity building, and with their funds for training in the oil and gas industry. We need to work with them to channel our energies together, to synergize and bring our efforts to greater effect. We're talking with SMEDA. SMEDA is doing lots of things in terms of small-scale enterprises. So there are areas that they can be of immense value in mobilizing the activities in the oil-producing states and the other parts of the country. NASANI, the scientific group, we've had engagements with them. Some of the products they make can be applicable to the oil and gas industry. So there's a lot of capacity in Nigeria scattered all over the place. And one of our main functions is to articulate these things and bring them together for the oil and gas industry to see. And it's not an attempt to make everybody an oil and gas player. No, that's far from it. The skills that we build for the oil and gas are transferable. So if you train people using the mega projects in the oil and gas industry, when there's no work for them, they go to other industries. A man who can fabricate a tank for oil and gas storage can fabricate a water tank. These facilities for gas pipelines, line pipes, can be used for water pipelines. So these are things that every country would use. A country that has a defense leaning will use its defense industry to develop its technology. For Nigeria, we are in the oil and gas industry, so we must use it to develop the whole country.
Are you looking at getting involved with the amnesty program?
Oh, it's a major omission if I have not addressed it. The post-amnesty program of government relies on the achievements that the Nigerian content program would bring to the board. I'll give you, there's so many aspects. If we succeed in putting these shipyards, you know how many people can work in a shipyard? The post-amnesty program is about giving the youth a place to be relevant, especially in the oil and gas industry, because the youth from the Niger Delta see themselves as major stakeholders, but they are not being assimilated or integrated into the oil and gas industry. So the point I made earlier is that whilst the operators, the IOCs like Shell and Chevron and Ajib and Total cannot employ that many people, and when you put together all the employees of Shell, Chevron, and those majors with NNPC, you can employ 20,000 people. But the service companies, if we're able to domicile the work we give to foreign service companies, for them to do it in Nigeria, the amount of employment that it will generate will be amazing. So that's a key aspect. I'll give you another example of a program that we are still designing. You know, when there's a spillage in a community, what happens? You pay compensation. We know that government is now making serious plans to clean up the environment with specific agencies of government. It's not really our program, right? But what we see in that for the board is an opportunity to take indigents of these areas where we have major oil spillage and train them on the environmental remediation steps. I mean, look at what happened in the Gulf of Mexico. The people were not thinking only of compensation for damage. There's one, I mean, there are many lessons to be learned there. There's a requirement to clean up, then a requirement for damage claims, right? So today, what we need to do is to get, and it's already in one of our programs, to design training programs for youths in those areas for cleaning up the environment, so that when government's own programs to clean up come, it will be a source of effective employment for the youths of the communities. It's a source of employment, it will be a source of training and value creation. So people are aware that even when there is an oil spill, there's a way of recovering the environment. And that's one of the areas that we need to really work very fast on. The oil and gas industry has their own committee for post-amnesty, and we are quite involved in the programs associated. These are long-term activities that you would see, you start seeing the results on more strategic rather than tactical time frame. But clearly, it is one of the cardinal focus points for NCDMB to ensure that the government's post-amnesty program ties up with all the facilities we are creating.
Right. Now, don't you envisage any administrative problems working with the ministry and all the other departments and offices you're supposed to be working with?
No, I can tell you that it's a culture. It's been a culture for Nigerian content what used to be the Nigerian Content Division to build collaboration bridges all over the place. It's part of our modus operandi to collaborate. And like I said before, this law, called the Nigerian Content Act for short, is so detailed, so prescriptive. It almost says what you have to do on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'll give you an example. The composition of the council, or the governing council, it says exactly where the membership should be drawn from. So those issues that could bring in politicking and frictions are very clearly spelled out. And you must also remember that even there's a play with the intent of government. Everybody understands what this board is set up to do. And we have had amazing support from all parts of government. So to the extent that a board must work within a bureaucratic framework, yes, it's actually important for good governance and for transparency that we work within the established systems. But I don't see how it will affect
will not make any difference.
No. We will work from Yenagoa. We will reach the entire industry from Yenagoa. We will bring the industry to Yenagoa to come and work with us, and we will meet with all the stakeholders that we need to meet with.
What's OBTS? Sorry.
The oil producer strip section.
You can stop your tape.
Oil producer strip section of the Lagos